The air inside the tunnel was thick, heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else, something metallic and sharp. It was a scent that spoke of hidden dangers and long-forgotten secrets buried deep within the earth. The walls, slick with moisture, seemed to close in, creating an almost claustrophobic atmosphere that would unsettle even the bravest of souls. Destiny, a sleek black drone no bigger than a hawk, glided silently through the darkness. Its design was a marvel of modern engineering, a perfect blend of agility and stealth. The drone's matte black surface absorbed the scant light, rendering it nearly invisible in the shadows. Its twin cameras, glowing an eerie red, scanned the rough-hewn walls, transmitting a live feedback to the command center miles away. These cameras were not just eyes. They were the lifeline for the operators who depended on every pixel of the transmitted image to make critical decisions. The drone was deep underground now, venturing further into the enemy's lair. Each meter it covered brought it closer to the heart of the enemy's operations, a place where few had ventured, and even fewer had returned. The tunnel snaked and twisted, the air growing colder, the silence more oppressive. It was as if the very earth was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash that was to come. The drone's sensors picked up subtle changes in the environment, from the temperature drop to the slight increase in air pressure, all indicators of the depth it had reached. Destiny's operators watched the feed intently, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of the screens. Each operator was a specialist, trained to interpret the data and visuals with precision. Their eyes darted across the screens, analyzing every shadow, every movement, looking for signs of the enemy. They were hunting, and Destiny was their eyes in the dark. The drone's every movement was a calculated risk, a step into the unknown, guided by the expertise of the operators who had spent countless hours in training simulations for this very moment. Suddenly the tunnel opened into a vast chamber, the air thick with the stench of diesel and sweat. The chamber was a stark contrast to the narrow tunnel, a sprawling space filled with the hum of machinery and the murmur of voices. Men in mismatched uniforms moved about, their faces etched with tension. These were not regular soldiers, they were a ragtag group bound together by a common cause, their eyes betraying the weariness of constant vigilance. Heavy machinery rumbled, its noise echoing off the concrete walls. The machinery was the lifeblood of the enemy's operations, each piece a cog in the larger war machine that Destiny had been sent to dismantle. This was it, the enemy's command center buried deep beneath the earth. It was a fortress of sorts, designed to be impenetrable, yet here was Destiny, a silent intruder in their midst. Destiny hovered near the ceiling, its cameras capturing every detail of the scene below. The operators back at the command center could see everything: the layout of the room, the positions of the personnel, the machinery, and most importantly, the vulnerabilities. The operators relayed the coordinates, their voices tense with anticipation. Each coordinate was a piece of the puzzle, a step closer to the final objective. The tension in the room was palpable, each operator aware that a single mistake could mean the difference between success and failure. Moments later, the command came: execute. It was a single word, but it carried the weight of months of planning and preparation. The operators' hands moved swiftly, executing the final commands that would set Destiny's payload into motion. Destiny's payload, a single, powerful thermobaric bomb, detached from its undercarriage and plummeted towards its target. The bomb was designed for maximum impact, its destructive power capable of obliterating everything within its radius. The explosion, when it came, was deafening, a blinding white flash that turned the darkness into a raging inferno. The shockwave rippled through the tunnel, a force of nature unleashed by human hands. The earth shook, and the tunnel collapsed in on itself, burying the enemy's command center under tons of rock and debris. The once formidable fortress was now a tomb, its secrets buried along with its defenders. Destiny, its mission complete, arced away from the collapsing tunnel, its red eyes blinking in the sudden daylight. The drone had survived the inferno, emerging from the depths like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The hunt was over, for now, but the operators knew that this was just one battle in a much larger war. Destiny would fly again, its silent wings carrying it into the heart of darkness, ever vigilant, ever ready. Dawn broke over the rolling plains of western Russia, the rising sun painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. The first light of day cast long shadows across the landscape, illuminating the vast expanse of fields and forests that stretched as far as the eye could see. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of dew-laden grass, a reminder of the tranquility that once reigned here. Each blade of grass sparkled with tiny droplets, reflecting the morning light like countless diamonds scattered across the ground, and the distant rumble of heavy machinery. The sound grew louder with each passing moment, a foreboding symphony of metal and power that shattered the morning calm. Near the town of Kursk, close to the border with Ukraine, a place steeped in history and conflict, a formidable force was gathering. The vanguard of the Russian army, poised to strike. Soldiers moved with purpose, their faces set with grim determination, knowing the weight of the mission that lay ahead. Tanks, their massive guns glinting in the morning light, stood ready. These behemoths of war, symbols of raw power and engineering prowess, were the spearhead of the impending assault. Rumbled across the open terrain, their tracks leaving deep furrows in the soft earth. The ground trembled under their weight, a testament to the sheer force they carried. Armored personnel carriers, bristling with antennas and weapon systems, followed close behind. These mobile fortresses were the lifeline of the infantry, providing both protection and firepower. Followed close behind, disgorging squads of heavily armed infantrymen. Each soldier was a cog in the vast war machine, trained to perfection and ready to execute their orders with precision. Overhead, attack helicopters roared, their rotors churning the air with a deafening thrum. These aerial predators scanned the horizon, their keen eyes searching for any sign of enemy movement. As they scanned the horizon for any sign of enemy movement, the sky was their domain, and from this vantage point they could see the unfolding theatre of war below. This was no mere training exercise. This was the real deal. The stakes were high, and every soldier knew that the outcome of this operation could change the course of history. Months of planning, of meticulous intelligence gathering, had gone into this moment. Every detail had been scrutinized, every possible scenario considered. Of relentless training had culminated in this moment. The soldiers had drilled tirelessly, honing their skills and preparing their minds for the challenges ahead. The Russian bear, long dormant, was stirring from its slumber, its claws bared, its eyes fixed on the enemy. This ancient symbol of Russian might was now a reality, a force to be reckoned with. Its claws bared, its eyes fixed on the enemy. The bear's gaze was unyielding, a reflection of the resolve and strength of the forces it represented. The operation had been dubbed Steel Curtain, a name that evoked images of an impenetrable barrier, a wall of steel that nothing could breach. A testament to the impenetrable wall of armor and firepower that the Russians were about to unleash. This was a show of strength, a declaration that they were ready to dominate the battlefield. Their objective was clear: to push deep into enemy territory, to break through defenses and create a path for the main forces to follow, to seize key strategic points, locations that would give them a tactical advantage and disrupt the enemy's plans, and to cripple their ability to wage war. By targeting infrastructure and supply lines, they aimed to weaken the enemy's resolve and capacity to fight back. And they would do so with a lethal combination of brute force and technological superiority. Advanced weaponry, cutting-edge communication systems, and unparalleled coordination would be their tools in this high-stakes game of war. High above the battlefield, unseen and unheard, a different kind of warrior was preparing for battle. Drones, small and silent, with names like Orlan 10 and Aileron 3, soared effortlessly, their sophisticated cameras and sensors relaying a constant stream of information back to the command center. These were the eyes and ears of the Russian army, the ghosts in the wire providing a comprehensive and constantly updated picture of the battlefield. The Orlan 10, with its distinctive inverted V tail, was a workhorse of the Russian drone fleet. Equipped with high-resolution cameras and thermal imagers, it could spot enemy movements from miles away, day or night. The Aileron 3, smaller and even stealthier, specialized in electronic warfare, jamming enemy communications and disrupting their command and control networks. But these were no mere reconnaissance drones. Armed with laser designators, they could paint targets with pinpoint accuracy, guiding in laser-guided artillery shells and missiles onto enemy positions. The age of the drone had arrived, and the Russians, with their vast fleet of unmanned aerial vehicles, were at the forefront of this new era of warfare. The information gathered by these silent sentinels was invaluable. It allowed the Russian commanders to anticipate enemy movements, to deploy their forces with maximum effectiveness, and to strike with surgical precision. The element of surprise, so crucial in warfare, was firmly in their hands. The order to attack came as a low hum in the headsets of the Russian soldiers, a hum that quickly escalated into a roar as the full might of their arsenal was unleashed. The soldiers, trained to respond with precision and discipline, moved with a synchronized grace that belied the chaos they were about to unleash. The hum transformed into a cacophony of destruction as artillery pieces, mortars, and rocket launchers opened up with a deafening barrage. The ground shook with the force of the explosions, and the air was filled with the acrid smell of gunpowder and smoke. Tanks, their massive 125mm guns booming, sent armor-piercing rounds screaming towards enemy positions. These steel behemoths, with their thick armor and powerful engines, rolled forward with an unstoppable momentum, reducing fortifications to rubble and armored vehicles to twisted wreckage. The battlefield was littered with the remnants of what once were formidable defenses. Concrete bunkers and steel-reinforced barriers crumbled under the relentless assault, leaving behind a landscape of devastation and ruin. Infantrymen, their faces grim beneath their helmets, advanced under the cover of smoke and artillery fire. These soldiers, hardened by months of combat, moved with a purpose, their AK-12 assault rifles spitting lethal bursts of lead. Each step they took was a step closer to victory, and they knew it. The staccato rhythm of their rifles was punctuated by the occasional explosion, as grenades and mortars added to the Symphony of Destruction. The soldiers communicated through hand signals and brief radio transmissions, maintaining their formation and pressing the attack. The sky above the battlefield was alive with activity. Fighter jets and attack helicopters crisscrossed the sky, their engines roaring as they executed their deadly missions. The coordination between air and ground forces was a testament to the meticulous planning and execution of the operation. Su-34 fighter bombers, their wings laden with ordnance, screamed overhead. These aircraft, designed for both air-to-air and air-to-ground combat, unleashed a devastating barrage of precision-guided bombs and missiles. Each explosion was a carefully calculated strike aimed at crippling the enemy's ability to fight back. The precision of the aerial bombardment was awe-inspiring. Bombs and missiles found their targets with unerring accuracy, turning enemy strongholds into smoking craters. The sheer power of the air assault left no doubt about the dominance of the Russian forces. Mi-28 attack helicopters, nicknamed Havocs for their fearsome firepower, hovered menacingly. These helicopters, equipped with an array of weapons from cannons to rocket pods, rained death from above. Their presence on the battlefield was a constant reminder of the overwhelming firepower at Russia's disposal. The cannons and rocket pods of the Havocs spat death with a relentless fury. Each burst of fire was a symphony of destruction, adding to the chaos and confusion of the battlefield. The helicopters moved with agility and precision, striking fear into the hearts of the enemy. But it was the coordinated nature of the attack, the seamless integration of air power, armor, and infantry that was most impressive. This was not a haphazard assault, it was a meticulously planned and executed operation designed to overwhelm and annihilate the enemy. The integration of different elements of the military was a masterclass in combined arms warfare. Tanks provided the heavy firepower and protection. Infantry secured and held ground, while air power delivered precision strikes. Each element supported the other, creating a force that was greater than the sum of its parts. It was a symphony of destruction, a deadly ballet of fire and steel, orchestrated with ruthless efficiency. The battlefield was a stage, and the Russian military was the conductor, directing the chaos with a masterful hand. The enemy, caught off guard by the ferocity and speed of the assault, fought back with a desperate tenacity. They were outmatched and outgunned, but they fought with a determination born of necessity. Their defenses, already weakened by days of relentless drone strikes, crumbled under the onslaught. The enemy soldiers, realizing the futility of their resistance, fought with the courage of desperation, but it was not enough. The aftermath of the drone strikes was evident in the shattered remains of enemy fortifications. The precision of the strikes had left little room for the enemy to regroup or mount a counterattack. The battlefield was a testament to the effectiveness of modern warfare. Their tanks, outgunned and outmaneuvered, were reduced to burning hulks. The once formidable armored vehicles were now nothing more than twisted metal and smoldering wreckage, a stark reminder of the power of the Russian military. Their infantry, pinned down by a hail of gunfire and shrapnel, fought with the courage of desperation, but to no avail. The relentless pressure from the Russian forces left them with no room to maneuver, no chance to escape. The tide of battle had turned, and it was flowing inexorably in Russia's favor. The victory was not just a testament to the strength and skill of the Russian military, but also to the meticulous planning and execution of the operation. It was a symphony of destruction played to perfection.